right?
The need to focus on these clean energy technologies, these cutting-edge technologies, remains as strong today as it was when the president took office.
The West Wing more than worried about the optics of the money mess. What does that mean? Instead of the money, they messed up. Why investment guru Lenore Hawkins says the real scandal is the billions more that may still go up in smoke if even bigger solar blowups go down. Then burn. Forget the cover-up, worry about the follow-up. More startling than the flame-up they're calling Solargate is the billions more being shoved out to similar concerns that are looking more like a floodgate. That's the scandal, and given how little we still know about Solyndra's $500 flare-up, that is the worry. Count Lenore Hawkins burnt out on all of this. Lenore, what do you make of what's going on here and the fact that even as the Solyndra investigation goes on, more money is going out the door?
Well, it's all pretty ridiculous. A politician's job is to create an environment for success, not to pick which company or even which technology is going to be successful. And that's simply because all politicians, whether on the left or the right, are under pressure to support their cronies' ventures using taxpayer dollars. That makes them very poor fiduciaries. Solyndra is just another illustration of how that conflict of interest creates political pressures which undermine good judgment.
Yeah, but I mean, it wouldn't be, and this is not the first time an administration has shown favoritism toward either a technology or an industry. The rap on the last President Bush was that he favored the oil industry, and they had a great time under his stewardship. That Ronald Reagan favored the defense industry, and they had a great time under his stewardship. So that's the way it goes. And Republicans crying this is immoral, or, look phony.
Well, it's either, the left or the right, they're always going to cry that the other side is doing it wrong. But this is just the way, when you have politicians using taxpayer dollars to fund either their own political agenda or to help with their own supporters, it's not going to go well because the decisions aren't based on sound fundamentals.
Let me ask you, Lenore, about why these few companies are the ones that are getting the largesse. And the rap I hear from these prominent Democrats, who, as I might have told you, Lenore, talk to me privately on the phone. Anyway, they say, Neil, there aren't that many of them. It's not as if there are a ton of them and it's fielder's choice. I mean, there's only a few. So when we target this technology, a company like Solyndra and others that might pop up are the beneficiaries. That is not by deliberate design. That's just what it is. And that is not a deliberate or even illegal intent. What do you make of that?
That may be the case. There aren't a ton of solar businesses out there, but doesn't that tell you something about the industry? I'm not very comfortable with using. I'm not comfortable using taxpayer dollars to subsidize an industry that it's on its own can't make money. The Solyndra decision was based on the assumption, using government rationale, that other private investors were so deeply pregnant with this that they would indefinitely fund it regardless of how much money it was losing. Well, that may make sense in the government because in the government, if you find yourself in a hole, they just keep digging. But in private industry, when you realize this was not a good decision, you stop.
Well, you know what also happens, and you've seen it here, is that when there's a deadline on cash and there's a rush to get the money out the door, and we've seen it before, giving stimulus money to prison inmates and to little kids. Some people's animals got them. I'd love to be in on that deal. But in other words, when you rush something out, right, you rush something out, this is the kind of stuff that happens. But you know that it's happened in the past. So you know the case of Solyndra. You know you've got billions to use before the end of this month. So they keep adding to that with other companies who might be just as questionable.
That's where political pressures override good business decision, which is why government politicians do not make good fiduciaries. Their incentives are not the same as the private industry that has the pressure of their investors to generate good returns. The goal here isn't really about returns, which means you're going to have a waste of taxpayer dollars. And last time I looked, we didn't have an overabundance of cash available.
Well, there is that. The optics don't look good there. Lenore Hawkins in San Diego, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Unionization will come back to America. We will lose more factories. Whatever's left in America, we will lose.
Who knew Home Depot co-founder Bernie Marcus would start a movement? He blasts unions on this show, then unions get a smackdown from a federal judge. we connect.